Hey everybody, in this video we are going to learn how to transform a graph. Particularly in this case we are going to be transforming the square root equation. Scooch that a bit, there we go. And you can see it's set up right above me in ABHK form. Also up over here, having issues with my camera. I'm trying a different camera and it's still not syncing up, but doing my best, whatever. Okay, so for the first one here, we have y equals the square root of x. This is the inverse function of x squared. The inverse of x squared is plus minus square root of x, really. So it's the top and bottom half of the sideways square root. But in order to make it a function and pass what we call the vertical line test, the mathematicians decided that they would focus only on the top half. So right here, we are looking at this graph of a is technically 1, x minus 0 for the h, plus 0 for the k. As for symmetry, before we even get started, I'm letting you know right now, none. It's not even or odd. Now, this one starts off like the others, but not like all graphs. Like cosine and exponential and log do not pass through the origin or reciprocal or the reciprocal of x squared. They don't pass through the origin. This one, however, does. So the square root of 0 is 0. The square root of 1 is 1. The square root of 4 is 2. The square root of 9 is 3. The square root of 16 would be 4. Now, what's the quick way to do this? Just like the squaring function or the parabola, if you will. Up 1, but same idea but sideways. Up 1 over 1, up 1 over 3, up 1 over 5. So exactly that concept, and there you go. Isn't that the most beautiful thing you ever saw in your life? The domain, x values. This is the first one in our playlist that the domain is not negative infinity to infinity. In fact, we start only at 0. Why is that? Because you cannot take the square root of a negative x value, so no graph over here exists. All right, and that goes in the x direction forever to the right, so that is until infinity. Then the range, same concept from bottom to top. It also happens to go from 0 to infinity. So there we go. Next up, we are going to do y equals the square root of x plus 3 minus 6. So here, a equals 1, so it's the exact same shape. That right there tells us we're going left 3. Remember, backward house. That right there tells us that then we will go down 6. So the first thing I'm going to do is put my crosshair in. Left 3 and down 6. That right there is recalibrating my center. And there we go. Now, nothing is changing with no reflecting, no stretching, no compressing. Again, later on we'll have examples that are stretched and whatnot, but for right now, this is all we got going on. Up 1 over 1, up 1 over 3, up 1 over 5. Gorgeous, beautiful, best graph you ever made in your life. Now, the ordered pair at that point, yeah, maybe you would call it a vertex. I think you could use the word vertex. The ordered pair for that point right there will be -3, -6. Other descriptive words to describe what's going on here is that this graph is increasing on its entire domain, not for all real numbers, but on its entire domain, and it is concave down. That's all we got here. Oh, and behavior. Limit as, so the limit's asking us about our output value, or our y value, if you will. As x approaches infinity, meaning as x goes to the right. As x approaches infinity, what is happening to the square root of x? Well, it's also going to infinity. Not as quickly, because it is flattening out, but it is also going up to the right. All right, let's look at 2 more examples. Here we are. Okay, here. First thing to sort of look at. I'm going to save this cutie pie for the last thing to describe. X minus 10 means we move right 10 plus 2 up 2. let's compare. Let's do kind of two at once. Here, left 7, up 5. All right, so great. 10, 2. That's where we will go. Left 7, 2, 4, 6, 7, up 3, 4, 5. Okay. Focus right now. Okay? So, here's where we start. In this situation, B is -1 or negative. In this situation, A is -1 or negative. No stretching or compressing is happening anywhere. But, when A is negative, right over here, it's a vertical reflection. When B is negative, horizontal reflection, well, what does that mean? We're going to compare these two depictions. When A is negative, less than 0, the graph will reflect that way, right? Do you see it's reflecting vertically over the origin or the new origin? This one, when B is negative, it reflects horizontally, which is over the vertical axis or the y-axis. Sorry if you hear the sirens outside. So there you go. All right. So each of these graphs is going to be ever so slightly different. So here, this would go from the original shape as it was right here, and it's going to reflect that way. So what does that mean? Sorry, my desk is so wobbly. I'll fix it for the next video. Up 1 over 1, up 1 over 3, up 1 over 5. Take your time when doing this. You don't want to get this wrong. There you go. This one, however, the A was negative, so it's going to take that original graph like that. So originally it started like this. It's going to reflect it vertically, so it's going to turn it into that. But let's not distract ourselves. So from there, down 1 over 1, down 1 over 3, down 1 over 5, down 1 over 7, and so on. Again, I will do ones with more stretching and compressing in the later packet when I have a moment, but there we go. So just a quick domain and range. Domain for this one is from -infinity, that's where we start, pointing that way forever in the x direction, and until what x value? 10, and that 10 is included. The range from bottom to top, well, it begins at 2, 2 is included, and goes up forever until infinity. The domain here, from left to right, is from -7, where that point is included, until infinity. And the range, bottom to top, -infinity until 5, and it's included. Okay, there we go. That one is concave down, that one is concave up. Thumbs up if you feel like you can graph a transformed square root function. Thumbs down if you don't know anything about this. Comments, questions, conversations, put them in the comment section. I'll answer you, or a nice soul who sees it will answer you. And check for the next one. Next one will be cube root. I already did. Linear, absolute value, quadratic, cubic, and now square root. Adios. Thumbs up. Bye.